Okay, page 3. Page 3 right here. You have $1.25 for each topic. So the word each, that means this is your m, this is your slope. So you know that equation is in y equals mx plus b form. So substitute that in. It's the one with the 1.25 n. And logically, it makes sense. If you did 14.5 n, it means $14 a topic. Would you pay that? No. Okay, so most of the time, I would say 90% of the time, it's a smaller number, that's your slope, and the bigger number is your fixed. Okay. Number 2 on page 3, you could either extend your axis and then draw the line longer to do extrapolation. But that is not very accurate. Better option is figuring out the equation. So you can see your y-intercept is 15. If you do rise over run, you can see that your slope is 1. So then your equation is y equals 1x plus 15. You want it for 30 cups, so sub in 30 for x. So 30 plus 15, you get your answer 45. Okay. Okay. Now, page 4. So I am going to go quick because you guys have all done these 10 pages. What is the definition of rational numbers? What are rational numbers? Not everybody at once. Matthew. Fractions, fractions of integers. So if you can write a fraction using integers only, it's a rational number. All right, so in this case, 1/3, 1 and 3 are integers, so that's a rational. -5, I can write it as -5 over 1. So that's a rational number. Okay. Number 4 right here is just asking how do you balance your earnings and expense. So this is the answer. It's just adding and subtracting out numbers. Number 5 right here, you are doing algebra. For sure, you're gonna see algebra questions on EQAO, on the final exam in the open response questions. All right. So you have to know how to do algebra. So when you distribute, you're multiplying, and then you get this. So when you simplify these ones, you'll get these arrows. So that's why on the EQAO, a lot of you guys were asking, is the EQAO only all multiple choice? Well, you can see these are like drag and drop questions. Some are like select two. So it's kind of like multiple choice, but yeah, multiple choice, multiple select, and drag and drop. Okay. Whenever you see a right angle triangle, what comes to mind? Pythagorean theorem, right? So it should be like automatically now. So since you're looking for the side length, it means I'm doing the subtraction. So 5 squared minus 4 squared. Square root that, you get your answer 3. By the way, just for a fun fact, what do we call these numbers? These perfect Pythagorean theorem numbers. There's a name for it. Anyone know? So these make a perfect right angle triangle. Anyone know? Okay, these fun fact, these are called Pythagorean triple. Yeah. But you don't need to know it for the exam, just FYI. Alright, number 7 right here. Some people were asking me about this. Miss, these two choices are both not right. That's because EQAO sometimes likes to do this. They give you 2 choices in equation form and 2 other choices in table form. Alright, so they like to mix up their choice. So you here, in this question, you actually have 4 choices. When you extend that line, you'll see that your y-intercept is 2.5. And so it's actually this one. Okay. Page 5. Page 5, drop-down menu. So on the real thing, on the real test, you will actually see drop-down choices. Alright, so this one, when you're analyzing just one data, mean, median, mode, and all that is just one variable. So box plot. When it involves 2 variables, for example, your x and your y, then we're talking about scatter plot, line graph, these things. Okay. Number 9. when you triple the recipe, that means you need 12 tablespoons. Simple. Okay. Number 10, you are, it's a coding question, but remember in the coding question, there's just 4 things every single time, every single program. First step is to define the variables. Second step is asking the question. Third step is to calculate. And then fourth step is the output. So if you follow this order, 1, define variables. Well, your variables are the bold letter words. Okay. Second is ask the question. So enter the height. Okay. After you get the height, you're going to do calculations with them. So in this case, it's this one, calculating it. And then last is the output. So one of this. Remember, volume is a variable. So even though this sounds weird, the volume is volume. When it actually runs the program, it will say the volume is 1,000, the volume is 5,000, and so forth. So it will replace that variable with a number. Okay. Number 11. Again, algebra question. Be careful with the brackets. Notice each of your choices have brackets. So it's this one and this one. So when you have the subtraction, this becomes minus 2x and this becomes plus 1. So when you simplify grouping like terms together, you'll get the answer 5x minus 3. Okay. Number 12. Okay, number 12, the wording is horrible, and that's how EQAO makes you lose marks. Okay, all this question is saying is 9.5 times 3. Okay, so since this is a multiple choice question, you could do the trick. Just do 9.5 on your calculator, 9.5 times 3, you get 28.5. You know that this is the answer. You don't have to change it to an improper fraction because it's just a multiple choice question. On your final exam, you will have to convert improper fractions back to a mixed number. Okay, so in the open response question, one of the questions will ask you to change back to mixed. So make sure you know how to do that. Hey, what is the trend of this graph? Down. So what's another word for down? Decreasing depreciation. That's all it is. All they want you to know is the difference between appreciation going up, depreciation going down. That's all. Okay. Page 6. Okay, page 6. You have a fraction equals another fraction. So all you're doing is cross multiply and divide. So cross multiply, you get 4x equals negative 54. Divided by 4, you get negative 14. Okay. Okay, number 2 on page 6. Again, the word each. That tells me that it's the 2n or 2x. Okay, so it's this one. And then 8 people are waiting. Box plot, your median in this question is 17. And so maximum minus your median, you get 16 tickets. Okay. Number 4. Between 6 and 7, there are a whole bunch of numbers. There are infinite many decimals. So infinite many real numbers. Okay. Your length, your cube A is 4 centimeters. So that means this is 4 times 4 times 4, which gives you 64. And then here, if the side length is triple, that means it's 12 times 12 times 12. So you get, I think, 729. Is it? No, it's 2 times 2. What is it? 12 times 12 times 12. What is that? Oh, 1728. Okay, it's asking you how many times greater it is. Whenever you see the term how many times greater, you'll always see this question on EQAO. They always ask you how many times greater is this, how many times smaller is that. So you are dividing. This means divide. So 1728 divided by 64, you'll get 27. Okay. Number 6. Boxplot, one variable. Histogram, one variable. Boxplot is just the same as bar graph, basically. Circle graph, one variable. So if you want to compare two towns, double bar graph. Okay. Moving on to page 7. As I said, I am doing this quickly because you should have done these 10 pages already. The good thing, I am recording this, so I will upload this on YouTube. If I'm going too fast, just pause. Okay. Okay, you have two graphs right here. So you want to know initial value here is 5,000. So when it doubles 10,000, how long will it take? So at 10,000, go into your graph. It's gonna take about 7 years. Okay. This equation right here, y equals negative 3 over 2x. This is an equation of a line. What's your y-intercept here for this line? What's your y-intercept? When there's no y-intercept, your y-intercept is 0, right? So if you're moving it up 3, that means your new point at 0, 3. They actually didn't even trick you and put 3, 0. Okay, so when you're moving up and down, it changes your y value. Keep that in mind. Okay, number 9. Only trick right here is this is in centimeters and this is in meters. So remember, just like in the test, the past test, metric conversion you are responsible for. Right? So you know that King Henry the kilogram to meters and so forth. That you have to know the conversion yourself. In the past, EQAO didn't use deca or hecto. Those ones they usually give you guys the more obvious ones. Okay, so for example, going from meters to kilometers and so forth. Imperial though, we will give you on the exam if there's any. Okay. Okay, to survive, what do you need? In general, food and shelter, right? So that's all it is. This question. So if you have very low budget, you don't want to be spending it all on movies. You want to spend it on food because it's a necessity. Okay. If you see a question like this, easy marks. Okay, just common sense. The government want to make sure you're not spending your last dollar on flowers or video games, and you're spending it on food. Okay. Number 11. Every 4 degrees is 1,000. So here from 27 to 17, it's 2 drops. So it's 2,000 meters. Okay. This question right here, it may seem very easy, but I can't stress enough how many people get 3 cube wrong. What is 3 cube? 27, not 9. Alright, so Gavin, make sure you don't write 9 on the exam then. Alright, 3 times 3 times 3 is 27. Okay, so after you do bad math, you'll just get the answer 45. Okay, page 8. Page 8. In one of our assignments, my class, remember the decimal assignment that we did? We compared the two bike companies, one like this, one like this. What's the intersection point? That's because you'll always see it on EQAO, the intersection point. So anything less on the left of the intersection point, that means this is cheaper. And anything right to it, that means this option 2 is cheaper. What do we call this point again? Where two lines cross? Point of intersection. And in a word problem, it means it's your equal point or break even point. All right. So in this case, that's 7 visits. Okay. Question 14. The key here is that it's a savings account. In a savings account, do you want interest to be high or low? High, because you're earning money. What if you're borrowing money? what do you want the interest to be? Low, because you're paying. All right, so keep that in mind. All right. As I said, algebraic question, you will definitely see it on the exam. So 2x times 2x is 4x squared, right? Because you're multiplying and adding the exponents. 2x times negative 3 gives you negative 6x. Negative 3x times x, you get negative 3x squared. Negative 3x times negative 2, you get positive 6x. So when you simplify it, grouping like terms, you'll get just x squared. All right, so I want to go over this. Remember when we had class in chapter 4, I did this bubble for you guys, and I said if you can remember this bubble, you can do any algebra. All right, so what is x plus x? 2x. All right, what is x squared plus x squared? 2x squared. Just like apple plus apple, you have 2 apples. Banana plus banana, you have 2 bananas. Right? What is x times x? You guys are scaring me. X squared, right? This is when the exponent change, when you multiply. When you multiply, you add the exponents. So x times x squared, x cubed. Okay, so what is an apple plus a banana then? So what is x plus x squared? Doesn't work because, as I said, apple plus a banana does not equal fruit. It's just that. Okay, you cannot mix them together and say you have a apona. All right, so remember, these are not like terms, so that's why you leave it. Okay, so copy this bubble down. If you are not so confident with algebra, this will help. If as long as you remember like these basic rules, it will help you do any algebra questions. I also have an extra algebra worksheet. If you need, I have the extra sheet for extra practice. It's all like a page, looks like this. A page full of algebra questions. Okay, solving for X questions. Answers are on the back. All right, so you can check to see if you got it right or wrong. It's not homework. This one page is not homework. It's just extra practice if you want it. Okay. Okay, let's finish up. Number 16. This is a very interesting one. I like this one. Sam has X cards, and then Alicia has double the cards and 20 more, so 2x plus 20. And then for Reed has triple the number of hers. So when you write it, you have to put that bracket around that 2x plus 20. And then in total, they have 350. So you have to add all three and write it to equals 350. After you simplify it, you'll get this as your answer. Okay. Number 17, we did before. We know that this is the tangent rule. So this is 90 degrees. So in the triangle, x is 50 degrees. Okay. Number 18. So we talked about gathering information. So in this case, finding the sales for the 1 month would help the survey. Okay, so that was page 8. Page 9. So we're almost done. Page 9, looking at these graphs, obviously not this one because it doesn't even go with the trend. This one, the points are too low. So this is a good line of best fit. Okay, this coding question. So if I put in pi for my x, is pi an integer? No, definitely not. So then it will go through this if else. So 3.14 take away 1, that means 2.14. So then what's the integer between 2.14 and 3.14? 3. That's your answer. Okay. Number 21. Looking at this equation, remember the mx plus b. So your m is 60, which is your per, and the 30 is your fix. So your answer is just simply that. Okay, 22. You have to convert this mixed number into an improper fraction. Once you do that, you just multiply across, you get the improper fraction. How do we change from an improper fraction back to a mixed number? That's going from mixed to improper. So how do I go from improper to mixed? Right, you have to see how many times 20 goes into 153. So long division. Back to long division, it goes in 7 times with a remainder of 13. So when you rewrite it, you get this. Okay. On the final exam, as I mentioned, you have to keep everything in fractions, and your final answer will be in mixed number form. Okay. Number 23. The diameter is 20. Don't forget, you will be given the formula sheet for geometry. So EQAO is actually on the computer, but because we know that out of the 200 of you, 20 of you will probably miss that the formulas are given. So we will print it out for you guys. You guys will get a formula sheet. So no excuse for missing the formula. All right. So if you look at the formula, that's the formula for a volume of a cone. Diameter is 20, so that means your radius is 10. Okay, so your answer is A. Okay, last page. Last two. Okay, so again, $1.25 for each topic, so 1.25 N. And then the last one, which is not a line. What's the degree of this one here? Y equals x squared has a degree of 2, right? So anything degree of 2, 3, 4, 5, that means it's not a line. All lines have a degree of 1. So what about y equals 3 squared? Is that a line or a curve? 3 squared. What is 3 squared? 3 squared is 9. So in other words, this is y equals 9, which is still a line. All right. So, but miss, didn't you just say when it has an exponent, it's a curve variable? So Sophie, sorry. 3 squared because it's a 3, it's a number. So that's why it's not a curve. No, x could be anything. X is any number. So x is a variable. So the exponent on the variable. Okay, that's what determines the degree. Right? So if I have something like this is still a line because it's just y equals 9. And y equals 9, is that a horizontal line or vertical line? Y equals 9. Horizontal. All right, so a horizontal line, y equals 9. Okay. So that was 54 questions right there. All right. Why did I assign so many homework questions? That's because you on Wednesday you are gonna do 54 questions. So that's what it's like for next Wednesday. Out of these 54 questions, how many of you think you got at least 70% of them correct? Nice and high. I want to see those hands nice and high if you think you got at least 70% correct. Alright. So if your hand is up right now, congratulations. You passed EQAO. Okay, EQAO, the pass rate is 70%. Alright? 70. Alright? Only 70, that's good. I like that confidence. How many of you think you got more than 80% of these questions correct? Okay, so I was hoping more hands. Okay, so that means you guys got level 4. So last year we finished 3rd in overall in TDSB and 1st in number of level 4s. So I'm depending on you guys to defend our title, AYJ. I have faith in you guys. Alright, so Okay, so if you don't think you got more than 70% of these questions correct, then here's your second chance. Work up to page 19. We'll do the same thing tomorrow. We'll take up to page 19, and then you tell me. Now, second time around, did you get more than 70%? Okay, so 9 pages up to page 19. I am going to do homework check again tomorrow to mark down your progress. If I saw that I am not happy with 5 people's progress. I'm not going to name them out, but you know who you are. Alright, so make sure, get working. By tomorrow, you should have done up to page 19. Alright? Okay, let's get working. You have the next 35 minutes to get started on the work.